before anybody asks, she's wearing a shirt. It's a tube top. It's 99 in the South. Okay? All right. But hey, friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, the well rounded nerd. So I thought it would be fun to get back into this evolution of figures over time. I started with Sailor Moon and did Chibiusa at the same time. And I actually now have realized I left out like 5 Sailor Moon figures that I have. But that's okay. We'll come back to her. But why not do it in order that the scouts were discovered? I did Sailor Moon and Chibiusa together because they're not the same person, but mother, daughter. I mean, that's what makes that whole Chibiusa and Mamoru thing just so annoying to me. Like, not my first time at the anime and manga rodeo. I know the plots be plotting and they go left. That's just how it is. I don't know. This one just in particular annoys me to no end. So yeah. And plus, I just in media in general, I am not fond of child figures that are so obnoxiously annoying to the point of making you disdain children, because I am someone who teaches kids, and I can tell you I have encountered far more delightful children whose parents have done their job versus not. And they're just in media, there just seems to be more of those just like, on your nerves kid characters. They bug me, like the dumb dad trope. Like, there are far more competent fathers than incompetent out there. It's not that one doesn't exist, but like the trope that gets views and whatnot is the negative one. And I hate annoying little kids in me. I don't like it. And she was just as annoying as it gets. And the way that whole thing played out, like, look, I don't question our queen Naoko Takeuchi. I don't question her. But like bombastic side eye on the whole Rini and Darien situation. So look, I'm gonna flip back and forth between the English and the Japanese names. That's just how it is, because she watched and read all of it in both languages. So there's that. But yeah, back to why we're here. Sailor Moon, first one. I know Sailor Venus. We're not talking about Sailor Venus today. She's her own special thing. We're going in order that Serena or Usagi, Princess Serenity, got in contact with the scouts, and herself being the first one that she knows about, except Sailor V in the comics. But number 2 is Sailor Mercury. So let's look at Sailor Mercury today. Now, I used to not rocks with the Sailor Mercury. Now, you know how we do. We talk about the thing with the stuff. Ain't no copyright strikes happening on this channel. I got content for years over here. But Sailor Mercury is basically the introverted brains. And I have to put that caveat of introverted on here, because when Sailor Neptune and Sailor Uranus show up, they're not unintelligent. They're actually quite brilliant and go to the most brilliant gifted school of kids in town. But Mercury is like that accessible, quiet brilliance. When we first encounter her, she's number 2 scout that is discovered. So Luna wakes up Sailor Moon, has no idea that Artemis is on the planet and has woken up Sailor Venus. So we're not dealing with them right now, okay? I've said it 3 times. We're not dealing with them today. But then we have to start going out and finding the other scouts. So the way things are presented to Usagi is that there is a princess to find out there. Unbeknownst to herself, she is said princess that they're looking for. But she is a Sailor Moon, and she's got to assemble her team, right? Yes. There's always a team. Avengers assemble. Like, this is, that. But with better outfits. And cooler people. I'm joking. I love the Avengers. But Sailor Mercury is the second. Sailor Mercury ends up at, Amy. And which, this is like the only name that between the English and the Japanese they didn't completely butcher. Look, I get it. I work in an international company. I understand the need for translation. But there's translation and then there's taking liberties. And Serenity to Serena made sense. And actually with Ray's name, they didn't do it as well. Her name in Japanese is Ami, A-M-I. And they made her Amy in the English. Good job. And then we have the next one who comes up is Sailor Mars. She is Rei, R-E-I, in Japanese. And then she is Ray Ray in English. Good job. Then we just start taking liberties. I'm gonna have to look up what the names mean, but how we went from Mamoru to Darien. And to be fair, Serenity's names from Serenity to Serena, that makes sense as the princess, but as her, like, I don't know, like non-transformed name, her regular name, her real name is Usagi, which means rabbit. Her full name means rabbit of the moon. But her given name is Usagi. In the manga, in the English version, they did call her Bunny in a few chapters. I have them over there. But in some of them, they call her Serena. So I guess it depends on who got the translation contract at the time. But they didn't call her Bunny in the anime. They called her Serena in the English version. So that always got on my nerves. Even as a kid, when I discovered, like, they had totally chopped up the names. I know that happens everywhere. Like, what Optimus Prime is called in English is not what he's called in other countries. Like, translation is everything. But one thing I've learned about translation, what a tangent, right? Is that you really got to get to the meaning of something to give it that right translation, because sometimes direct translation doesn't work. Like just directly saying the word, which I don't have an example off the top of my head right now. But yeah, just... I'm happy, all that to say, I'm happy that her name didn't go through a whole bunch of weird transformations. But yeah, Sailor Mercury showed up in Sailor Moon's life as just this introverted smart girl. And remember what we said in the last one? One of the things we love about Sailor Moon is she had a personality that attracted people. Before she got awoken as a Sailor Scout, she was just happy living her regular life, but she had a personality that attracts people. She is the center of her own little universe, but she's not doing it intentionally. She just has a gregarious personality, and she is okay with average. And I honestly, I think that's a trait that more people need, is to be okay with average. There's nothing wrong with just regular life. You know, like, we all want excitement and adventures in the things, and social media has put it in our heads that everything has to be a thing. And it doesn't. Regular life is okay. She's like, I want to eat snacks and sleep. Girl, I identify with you. Serena, I'm there. Can I just eat snacks and sleep and be cute? Can we just do that and call it life? But that's all she wants. And when this young lady, when Amy shows up at her school, there's like this mystique around her, because apparently, she's the daughter of wealthy people. Her mother's a doctor, which in most societies, doctors tend to do pretty well because, well, that's the nature of the profession. And she apparently came from an exclusive school, but she chose their high school for some unknown reason. But she's got the highest scores in the school, and she's going to be a doctor one day. But she's also pretty. I mean, that's like a requirement to be a scout. You have to be cute. Like, you can't, no ugly scouts. I'm sorry. That was rude. But they're like, oh, she's so pretty and she's so quiet. So, like, this rumor develops that Amy is a snob. And she's anything but. She's just introverted. And when she's tried to make friends, nobody will be friends back with her. So she just quit trying. She decided to go to a particular school where she could get the education she wanted, not cost her parents a ton of money, and at the same time have access to test up for prestigious schools. So, like, she's a conscientious child because her father travels, her mother is a doctor, so she's basically on her own. Like that. Hold up. Can we tangent? If you believe all of Japanese media, you will think that teenagers in Japan are all living by themselves and hanging out on the roofs of schools. Like, y'all, it's like, and I'm just saying this is one who's experienced the culture firsthand. That's not the case. Half the kids are not living by themselves. That's like watching, I don't know, a G.I. Joe and thinking every child in America is raised with a rifle in their hands. Like, the tropes are tropes for media entertainment purposes, but they're not necessarily true to all of real life. Like, the amount of kids that just be raising themselves in anime. Like, Kotaro lives alone. He's like 5. And he got a whole apartment. And everyone in the apartment building's like, well, there's a 5-year-old who's renting an apartment. Good on ya. But yeah, I find that to be hilarious. But she is the beautiful, quiet, eccentric, just as far as from the outside looking in. And rumors develop. And rumors are dangerous, y'all. We can't be starting stuff about people, especially when we don't know them, just making guesses based on appearance. But Serena's like, no. she looks like she needs a friend, and I like having more friends. I'm gonna make friends with her. And she does. She's the first person at their school when she transfers in who reaches out and extends a true hand of friendship. And in that connection, part of it is just because Serena is going to make friends with anybody. But then part of it, of course, is they have a cosmic connection through history. They are the reincarnations of Sailor Scouts who died 1,000 years ago. They are reborn on Earth in the modern age. That's part of their blessing for being scouts, planetary scouts, is they are going to be reborn. Sounds terrific. Why didn't Queen Serenity get reborn? Okay, that's not what we're talking about today. Because if she was Sailor Moon at one point, shouldn't she have? Okay. But they become friends. And, they go on their first adventure together. And because Amy is the intelligent Sailor Scout, for lack of a better term, she receives a gift from Luna, which is like a little computer that has all the information ever in it. And it's connected back to the computer on the moon. And their first adventure is actually Amy goes to cram school. If you don't know what cram school is, good for you. Your childhood is preserved. But cram school is basically extra school after school to put more school in your head so that you can get into the next school. That's my summation. Like, how dare you have fun in your youth? Go study. Go study more. And the grades at the extra school count just as much as the grades at your real school. Because, got to get ahead. But she's going to cram school, and one of the minions of the dark powers that they're fighting infect the cram school, and it's revealed through that travail that this is indeed a Sailor Scout. And then her and Serena, together they start adventuring on to uncover the rest of the Sailor Scouts. And we see so much of her personality start to blossom the more the Scouts join in and the more adventures they go on. Because it turns out, I would look at Sailor Mercury the way I look at my husband's personality. My husband, I guess, would be classed as an introvert. I'm obviously not. Like, I'm an extrovert. I'm like, hey, stranger. How's it going, stranger? Now that I've met you, we're not strangers. Like, I've been that way since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. But my husband always says, it's not that he doesn't like people, he has persons. Like, there are individuals that he collects around himself that these are like, this is his crew, but he doesn't really venture beyond that. I, on the other hand, never met a stranger, and I'm going to go out and talk to all the people. Like, when we go places with our Taekwondo group, which incidentally, that's what we're doing tomorrow, at the time of filming, going to Mexico to work with kiddos in the Taekwondo schools in Monterrey, I hang out with all the kids there. Like, my Spanish is decent. I'm not going to call it perfect, but I've got decent Spanish. And, a lot of my group is always asking me, it's like, how are you able to interact with them? I speak fluent 9-year-old, okay? All right, 9-year-old is the same language all over the planet. I have spoken fluent 9-year-old in the Philippines, in Japan, in, I'm trying to think of other countries I've been to. In Guatemala, I've spoken 9-year-old everywhere. So, I can hang out with folks. And not just that, just with cool groups of people and getting to know them. And Mercury finds her persons in the Sailor Scouts, and even, deigns to once in a while branch out and explore relationships even beyond just her inner senshi that she is a part of. So I like the way Naoko, much not unlike Warhammer, honestly, in crafting characters that individually they can find connection with viewers and readers, but collectively as a whole, they make up this incredible unit, because that's what it means to be part of society. Even though the whole matters, the whole is not the whole if a part of that whole is missing. The Sailor Scouts are not complete without her. The Sailor Scouts are not complete without the outer Senshi. The Sailor Scouts aren't complete without Chibi Yusa, even though we hate her. On this channel, we hate her. So I love the evolution of her personality. But now that we've talked about who she is and how she fits into the universe, let's look at the evolution of the dolls. So this is the first Sailor Mercury I ever got. And I bought her in the store, I believe. Does she still have a price tag on her? I did not get her on an eBay or, yep, that's where the price tag, I ripped it off. And I'm pretty sure she was $9.99, because the rest of them, except for a couple that I did get on eBay at some point, were all $9.99. So I believe she came out around the same time as the other. Let's look for the date on her box. 2001. How old was I in 01? I graduated high school at 17. So, dates be weird. You can't do that no more. You can't start school until you're like 6 now. But my parents did my butt in school when I was 3. I did not get advanced in grades. And what's funny is when I was in school, I went to private school for the first 10 years of my education, so kindergarten through 8th grade. I was like the youngest kid in the whole school for like 4 years because they threw me in there when I was 3. Preschool, kindergarten, but I started kindergarten when I was 3 and turned 4 in December. So, like, when I tell stories, sometimes the dates seem off. That's why. When you're an end of year baby and your parents do you and stuff early, like, the dates get weird. But what's funny is at the time, I was not the youngest. And when we went to kindergarten, things were normal, and then went to first grade. In first grade, a whole bunch of kids, a whole handful of them, I can name them to this day, got held back. Not because they failed, but a decision was made, I'm assuming with parents and faculty, that they weren't ready developmentally or something to go on to the next grade. But back then, when I was a kid, parents had more of a say-so in how those things worked. Plus, I was in a private Baptist school, and my parents like, no. We just gave y'all 3 years of money, or 2 years at that point. Kindergarten first, yeah, so 2 years. We not about to give you a whole extra year by you holding her back. Did she pass? Send her to second grade. And then I ended up being the youngest kid in my class for the next 8 years. Every single class. And then when I went to high school, I was 13 when I started high school because of that. Started at 13, turned 14 in the middle of the year because my birthday's in December. That's how American school calendars work. They go from fall to the next late spring, early summer. So the middle of our school year, our school calendar year, is the late winter, so December. So being a December baby, I would turn the next year up in the middle of the year. So I ended up being the youngest kid in my high school for 2 years. Yeah. So, anywho, I'm trying to guess. I was a teenager when this came out, but an older teenager. That's what all that means. Birthday math. Anyway, but yeah, so I got her at a KB toy store. A lot of the scouts I ended up getting at KB toy stores. If you remember KB, you're my people. We grew up great. Loved. I miss going to toy stores and just searching, like stores dedicated to just toys and looking for treasures. Like, that's not a thing anymore, and I miss that. Like me and one of my best friends in high school, hey Mo, if you're watching, me and her used to go to Toys R Us and KB, and there was one other that was in the mall, and we would just go through shit. It was great. And like turn stuff on. Like we had a blast. It was free entertainment. I'd buy stuff, obviously. But this was the first Sailor Mercury that I got. This is the 11.5 inch. And this, of course, is an Irwin. And I think Irwin in America must have gotten the first contract to produce dolls, because you'll notice all their faces between them are real similar. I like what they do in the modern figure productions is they unique up the features. They're not all the same. You just change the eye color and the hair color, like, make them unique. And they do a good job of that now. This is the first one I got. The second one I got is huge. Shall we take a look? Also at a KB toy store. I have this one, Mars and Jupiter. The only one I don't have of the inners is Sailor Venus. If I ever find her, I will be so happy. She'll probably cost me $150. Don't care. Want the complete set. But this one, is the price tag still on? Also an Irwin. But what's crazy, let's put them side by side, is you can see that because it's taller, the face is just slightly different. And the blue of the hair, this one's got darker blue on the hair, but this one has darker blue on the outfit. But yeah, that one's got a darker bow. This one has a white bow. So there are some mild differences between the two. Can you see her boots? There you go. The boots, see, this one has white trim on the boots and the one in the yellow. This one has a blue trim on the boots. So slight differences. This one, the box is yellow, and I've got some of these where the box is this color. I don't know why the difference in colors, because this obviously is still the first version. They're the Sailor Scouts and the Super, then the Super S, and then the Stars, but these are all original versions. So I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason. Don't know what it is. And again, it says Adventure Doll, but you see that stand in there? Yeah. But side by side, the 11-inch doll and these, I think, are they 17-inch? Yeah, this is the 17-inch doll. So I bought these probably 6 months apart from each other. There was one particular KB toy store in town that I just kept going to because they kept getting figures in. And I got all kinds of great stuff from them. I miss you, KB. Come back. Come back. Come back. But this is hilarious. So these two, basically the same doll, just scaled differently. But remember I showed y'all that Sailor Moon that got beat with an ugly stick? You ain't seen ugly. Why they gotta do her this way? Now, granted, I've probably worn hair that looks like this. I probably have a wig that looks like that right now. This isn't cute. Is this the, who made this one? This is Bandai. And all of them, I showed the Sailor Moons last time. Let me see if I can get this to focus. They're all in just, oh. Someone approved this. So, I mean, and she's little. This is a 5.5 inch, 6 inch doll. She little. But just, what the horror show. And then you put all three of them together. Let's see if I can hold all three. I bet I can't. So you got all three of them together, graduating here. Now I will say of the 6 inches from Bandai, she's the least ugly. Let me look on the back here. Yeah, she's the least atrocious looking. You know why her hair is all covering her face? Because it's weird looking. Because if you look on the back of the box, what she's going to look like with her hair pulled back. Nightmare fuel. Absolute nightmare fuel. Focus. There we go. Yeah. It says ages 4 and up. I don't know any 4-year-olds want this ugly doll. Now this one I got online. Look, this little hole. She's moved a few times, so yeah. Everything can't be pristine, but the doll on the inside is still perfect. This one I actually got as a group. I got a lot of these. Half in the blue box, half in another color box of these 6 inch dolls. So I have all of them except Sailor Saturn in this size. And I've tried to find her over the years. I cannot. I know one of these days the eBay gods will bless me and I'll find her. But yeah. Ugh. But don't worry, it gets better. We don't do Mercury wrong forever. So you may recognize this one. This is a more recent acquisition. I think I got her 3 or 4 years ago when I was still living in Nashville. I got her in the middle of the panorama of the thing. You know how I feel about saying that. But yeah, I got a set of 5 of the Inner Senshi, and, Sailor Moon and the rest of the Scouts. And it's funny, my stepson was in here last night, and he was just looking at my figures, because there's always something new being added. And he looked at the set that this belongs to. He's like, that is a bright set of dolls. I was like, what do you mean? Like, everything in here is bright. But these, I guess now looking at it through the camera, yeah, they are particularly bright. I don't know why this was produced. All I can imagine is because Crystal came out, more merch, which I like the look of these. These are just called Sailor Moon Adventure Dolls. 5 of them came in a pack. It was like $27 for all 5 of them. There's nothing particularly special about them, honestly, except they were cute to set on my desk. And now they sit on a shelf over there with my Rooney Kitchen figures, but they're all in their like Sailor, like I've transformed poses. So when you watch Sailor Moon, I'm looking at the dolls over here, but when you watch Sailor Moon and they do their transformation, Moon, Prism, Power, they don't say makeup in the English version. So in the English version, it's, what is it? We'll say Moon, Prism, Power, makeup, Mercury, Power, makeup. That's how they say it in the Japanese version. In the English version, they took the makeup out. I guess that was I don't know, we're not going to talk about it. But they, like, Sailor Moon's like little transformation thing is a whole compact. Like, don't take the fun out of it. Anyhow, but they took that out. So when they did their little makeup and they make up, they all like land in a pose. And this is how Mercury lands. And the rest of them are like that too. So Jupiter's doing her little Bruce Lee thing. Yeah, and Venus is doing her little, look, I'm of love. And Mars is like, I'm Mars, I'm more beautiful than all of you, so stuff it. And then, Sailor Moon with her. So they're all in their landed poses, which I kind of love. And one thing I like about the manga over the anime, which they fixed that in Crystal, was they left out a lot of their power. So if you read the manga, they can do 20 times the things that they can do in the anime. And I get why that happened with the 90s anime is production costs. That show was 200 episodes and like what, 5 movies? That ain't cheap to produce with hand drawn animation. So they reused a lot of cells. We watched these girls transform for 30 hours of our young lives, like cumulatively in these shows. And the same thing with their powers when they would do a thing, when what was Mercury's thing? It was the bubbles first, wasn't it? Yeah. So when she, the mist and the bubbles, like we saw that for 2 whole seasons. She didn't do nothing else. No, in the second season, I think she got a new power, but they all got a new power in the second season. But they all had like one thing in the whole first season. That first season is long. Like they never upgrade. And in the first book, they all have, well, the manga book, not the comic books. They are always doing new things. So I like that they fixed that in Crystal, was that they did more stuff faster, because it made no sense. You have one power and then all your enemies graduate up with your power. It's like, no, we got to figure this out now because the enemies are coming. But I have one more figure, and you know what's coming. These are so hard to get in here, but this is the SH figure arts. And I can see her quite well. I don't know how to get the glare off the box so you can see her, so I'll just turn her around and let you see the back. We're going to take that price tag off. Well, I paid $60 for her. She was $59.99. Again, it took me 2 years to collect all of these, 1.5 years, so they were not all purchased at once. But this is what she'll look like when she's fully posed. That is a beautiful figure. I like that she looks like the anime. She looks like the game. She looks like just a beautiful statue. If we compare the two, I think this girl is closest to what she is. I do like the darker blue in here. It looks more, I don't know, real water, if you will. It looks closer to like flowing river water or deep lake water, that type of thing. Because Sailor Uranus is more ocean water. Yeah, that would be the difference between their waters. Deep submerge. Anyway, I'm not gonna lie. When Sailor Neptune and Uranus showed up, one, I thought they were great. But that Uranus world shaking, I thought was just the greatest thing ever. World shaking. It was great. Such a dork. But yeah, just like other Japanese figures, she's got one. This one has 3 faces. It looks like, I'm trying to get down here, one other set of hands, which it looks like the other hand, will be on her little computer there. So that they even have her little laptop. Like this here, like if you know, did y'all have a secret sender? You remember secret senders? They were so dumb. But they were great. They were RFIDs, and they only mattered if like your friends had one. But it was like a little RFID thing where you could send messages and text each other if you were in a close vicinity, because RF signal is real short. But you could like put contacts in there, and there's this little thing where you could make the faces of your friends. So we'd have fun in class, like making everybody's faces in the thing. Like it was a good time. It was a good time. But this looks like a secret sender to me. It was a kid's pocket organizer. They don't make stuff like that anymore because iPhones exist, Galaxies exist, so y'all missed out. It was stuff just for us. It was great. Yeah, what I do love though is, these come from Bandai, and you know what? Bandai, if you were always capable of this, explain. This made it through multiple levels of approval. How? But I do appreciate that when there are remakes and reboots, we get a resurgence, almost a renaissance of figures that we have loved. We get a second chance to enjoy them, a second chance to have the experience of collecting. And obviously, I've been blessed by the collection gods because I was making money, as a teenager, right when the first round of this happened. That's how I was able to get a lot of the collection that I have, is because I was just born at the right moment. So I like to always give that encouragement in every video, because I had some people comment, man, I wish I had. There's stuff I wish I had. Let me be clear. There's stuff I wish I had that I'm probably never going to get. But I do enjoy the stuff I have been able to collect. And, somebody's got quite the inheritance, when I take my dirt nap. So, because by the time I'm with the fishes, this is going to be quite a collection that somebody gets to either keep and enjoy, or piece it out and buy a boat. Like I got one doll over there that if she was to be sold, like I could buy a new car with her, half a new car, but she's not. she's precious and she stays with me. But yeah, I love that reboots let us enjoy the media that we grew up with in a new and different way. You know, we got to give our reboots and remakes some grace, right? Can we do that? Because I'm okay with a new generation getting to experience the art that I grew up with in a way that relates to them. Because now we have that bridge. Like a couple weeks ago, me and my husband did the weekend where we went to see Lord of the Rings, the whole trilogy, the director's cut, where they included the mouth of Sauron. So great. 12 hours of movie going in a weekend. And there were these two little kids sitting next to us. And one of them was older than the other. And the older one was telling the younger one, like, this is what to expect and blah, blah, blah. Like, they were excited, you know? And one day, I don't know when, but one day those movies will be remade. Harry Potter is going to get remade. These properties that we think are done and dusted and could never be touched again, they will get remade. Y'all, come close. They gonna remake Star Wars one day. Y'all know that, don't you? They gonna remake the whole 9 movies one day. We might be 70 when it happens, but it's gonna happen. Because art is a reflection of the time in which it's created, and new audiences have different things they want to relate to. The angst in which Star Wars was created and what was going on socially at the time may not resonate 30 years from now. Remake the art so that a new audience can enjoy it, and now you can say to those young people or whatever generation you're talking to, hey, I saw this. What was it like when you saw it? What was it like when you experienced it? Like, even though Beast Wars is not my jam and Legacy's not my jam, I appreciate that they're still making Transformers, because they did that war for Cybertron and it just made my life great. And now I got too many things to collect. But let's enjoy these reboots and remakes. I'm eternally grateful that I get a second chance to enjoy the properties that I love so much and all the ridiculousness that comes with them. So, I got one more video I'm going to film. So yes, she will look the same in 2 videos. But as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one.